Namaste, beautiful yogis. Welcome to Ali Kamenova Yoga. I'm Ali, and today we are doing a class on the third eye, and I'll combine it with hypothalamus because they go hand in hand. Hypothalamus is the control center for the entire glandular system and communication to the nervous system, and it was really a focus of a lot of ancient traditions. It was recognized as a seat of the divine from really ancient times, as far back as we can trace. And interestingly enough, I was reading a mystical text, and it said that the hypothalamus is the floating eye of the soul. And it's also recognized in different traditions as the inner sun. So as above, so below, as without, so within. There is a central sun in our galaxy. So there is a central sun within ourselves that has the potential, especially when we develop our spiritual powers, to generate light. Light in the sense of consciousness, basically. It's light is consciousness. It is our own capacity to express our divine wisdom and love. So wisdom and love are the two aspects of the light. Wisdom is the brightness of the light, and love is the warmth of the expression of physical light. Now with the pineal gland, for hypothalamus also, because it regulates, in scientific terms, it regulates the hormonal system and our gender expression. So in spiritual science, it allows the material to polarize. And polarization is relative because there is unification above polarization. So within ourselves, the frontal part of the hypothalamus is the masculine and ruled by Uranus, which is action, creative impulse, divine creativity, divine action, inspired creativity, and the electric force. And then the backside of the hypothalamus, this is from mystical teachings, is the feminine impulse, which is the motherly instinct, the nurturer, warmth, the darkness, and it's the magnetic. So between those two aspects of our own nature and our connection also to the principles in the cosmic force, we express, we're a dance of the polarity, and the pineal gland is the unification. So the hypothalamus is the two polarities that are the two forces in the cosmos, in the created reality, and the pineal expresses the unified force, the unified space. It is very interesting to observe it from that perspective because we have the capacity to turn inward and create our own light. Now, there's two forces also in nature, the spring equinox and the fall equinox. The spring equinox represents the growth of the days become longer, so more sunlight. This is all related, by the way, to the pineal, because the pineal regulates light, how we absorb light. So the spring equinox and that, all of this, I have to say that all the glands are the chakras. They're all mirrored by the chakras. When a scientist talks about the hormonal system and the glands and the pineal gland and all of that, they basically are speaking one, they're using one language to express something that has a lot of layers, some metaphysical layers. So when the days start to become longer, the return of the light happens on solstice in December. So the days start to become longer. We start to absorb a little more light, hopefully through the eye, especially at sunrise, which affects the pineal gland and the production of melatonin, which can affect our how much sleep we need and our mood and all of that. So metaphysically speaking, the equinox in spring is the expression of the masculine force, the Uranian force in the cosmic powers, because it's the creation, the light, the external expression. Then we turn around to the September 22nd, the fall or autumn equinox. And so the days become shorter, now it's darker outside, the light is within. We have external and internal expression of light. When you have the external becoming darker, the inner sun has to strengthen, the internal light and warmth have to be. We have to turn towards it and generate more internal light. It's beautiful when you think about rhythms in nature. I'm writing currently an article, and hopefully I will publish it way before this class airs, but about following the rhythms in nature, the rhythms of the day, because it really regulates our system and helps us really be healthy. The pineal gland is the third eye, known as the third eye. It has everything to do with the receiving of light, quite literally and metaphysically, because whomever, especially in the Tibetan traditions, there was even surgeries on the skull in those temples for opening the pineal gland. That's quite extreme for our nowadays culture, but it shows us that they knew something about it, and they were opening the capacity of the evolved student to see into the Akashic record, the astral field, the etheric field, etc., the mental field. So it's quite interesting. The pineal gland, of course, regulates sleep and awake cycles, and also melatonin and melanin production, which is again very interesting because through the eye color and the melanin, we regulate how much light we're receiving, how much we receive from the outside, how much we generate from the inside. And it's so beautiful to see how this works in physical and metaphysical metaphor, in a metaphoric way. It's all about the light and how much the play of external, internal light, the masculine, the feminine, the force that moves outward, the force that moves inward, and all of that. The polarities that express here in the physical, and that we are a part, that we dance with. I know this can be taken completely out of context with nowadays culture, but I felt obligated to speak of things that are powerful and absolutely not related to the current controversies and all of that. So this is more observing reality from a spiritual place, and also our glandular system, and especially those are the higher chakras. So the hypothalamus is the inner sun. It's one of the most important parts of the body in relation to the expression in the physical of the spiritual, of the soul. It's also being called by Edgar Cayce, I want to say Descartes too, the seat of the soul. It is the gate, the door of the cosmic consciousness into the physical. So it is that connection between the soul and the cosmic, also the divine consciousness, and the physical and the mind. It is that connection. It also regulates all the other glands. And with the pineal, it's a cone-like gland. It is. It has rods and cones in it, just like an eye. So it has a bit of the anatomy of an eye, and it has the capacity to see etherized light. So light that we're still not aware of, because we are only aware of certain layers of reality and certain frequencies, a certain range, and anything outside of that range, obviously it's beyond our scope of recognizing. So obviously, once we develop the pineal gland, we're able to see more. And seeing more may mean we're seeing quite literally auras and different spectrum of reality, different range of reality, physical or a little finer than physical reality. Or it could be also different type of memory, different type of looking into the astral field, the etheric, etc., connecting to higher consciousness, because everything is layers of consciousness, and we attune to it. So when we develop our glands, especially the glands that have the potential to allow us to ascend, from there we have a gateway. You see how those the science and say the yogic texts or the metaphysics, all of those, they relate and almost speak in the same way, but in different. It's almost saying those things. You can say that the pineal allows light in, right, or regulates light, how much light we receive, literally. You go outside and there's sun and it comes in, but that exact sentence can mean, can be very layered, and it is. So the body works in such wise ways that we are barely understanding yet. We should be, but we're getting there. We're refining our intuition and wisdom. And that is also the two aspects of the hypothalamus. The frontal aspect, which is the Uranian, and the masculine, this is wisdom, divine wisdom, cosmic wisdom. And the back side, which is Neptune, this is unlimited, infinite intuition. Infinite intuition. A lot more. You know, I love looking at archetypes. That's why the last 30-day program I did for January was the archetypes, was the hero's journey. So if you feel a little antsy after this one, you can jump over to that one, because it's the archetypal journey, which is represented in astrology. It's represented in different cultures in different ways. It's through the archetypes, and it's what the human soul goes through. It's not only the hero's journey of one story, but it's way beyond. It's humanity's journey as well, through the spheres. I think that's the virtues. The virtues develop our psychic capacity and our finer abilities. So when we utilize persistence, patience, and silence, we develop the pineal gland. And that's, I haven't spoken a lot about that, to cultivate silence. In the presence of silence, so silence as a principle, silence as a primordial state. In the state of silence, we develop our, we evolve our soul. So those are some of the virtues. Kindness, consistency, and all of those are very important in developing the senses and the pineal gland. Of course, the meditation that we do, where we turn, we breathe in here and then we turn our gaze inward, is also very powerful, because everything happens with intention. And when we consciously contemplate things, another of the virtues is concentration. I did a class in this program on focus and concentrating the mind. Very important. It's one of the very important qualities that develops our mind and develops our soul. It's very interesting. So those things, it's taken me many years through contemplation to even begin to understand in deeper ways. I've always had a deeper understanding, I think, of them. But the interesting thing is the deep. No matter how deep you dive into the understanding, there's always deeper. The way there's always higher. It's again, everything is mirrored. Today the subject is third eye and inner sun, and I'll call the class the floating eye of the soul. I thought this is a beautiful, beautiful title. And let's begin and let's flow with love, strength, and ease. Starting at the front of the mat, you can shift from side to side. Smile. Close the eyes for a moment and bring your awareness to the third eye. So the pineal is the unified polarity, and the hypothalamus is the expression in the physical, the polarized materialization, but also it's the spiritualized matter. So if you want to spiritualize the material, we work through the glands. I'm getting heavy, like deep on you today. I never know in which direction and how much I'll share. But I'm a mind traveler. I like exploration. I like to look at so many things from so many angles because I feel that's what my mind needs, and I love to share this with you. And I know some of my sharing is for some people and some is for others, but I get to be authentic and share how I think. And let's bring the hands behind us, interlace the fingers, open and lift. And feel the left and the right side. We also have the left and the right eye. Left represents the emotional body and the right represents the mental body and the mind body. And our goal and task is to balance the two sides and to harmonize the sides, and the hypothalamus is the harmonizing force. It always makes sure that all the glands are producing the right amount of hormones that are balancing everything out. So nothing is out of balance. Exhaling completely. With incomplete exhalations, disease develops because we accumulate waste. Sediment in the body, and that is the breeding grounds for disease. So that's why breath is so important in purifying the system. Exhaling completely. It's not only what we inhale, which of course we should inhale clean air, but also learning to exhale, to slow down the breath. All right, inhale the hands over the head, and we're gonna sit in chair. Starting off in chair, and you're gonna lift your toes and push the butt back, and you can find a comfortable position for your tailbone here. You can kind of more bodybuilding squat it, or you can flatten a little bit the back, depending on what your natural curvature is. You can correct a little bit here and see what feels good. In yoga, in certain traditions, they do say to extend the tailbone down and engage the core. In other traditions, they say to, now in squatting, you know, it's always pushing back. So I've spoken with a lot of students, and it seems like there is a range of what people find comfortable with in their own body. So step your feet about hip width apart, and reach back in a neutral way. Basically, you're finding your own neutrality here. All right, here we're gonna shift the weight onto the right leg and bring the left leg forward. So that's one-legged chair pose. And push it back in Warrior Three. And chair. Take the right leg forward. Try to keep the knees at the same line here. And warrior three. Level the hips, turn the toes down, rotate the right hip in. And chair. Here we're going to go straight into warrior three, left leg behind you. Touch the floor in a deadlift. And chair, one-legged chair, sorry. And again, warrior three to deadlift, hinging at the hips, one-legged chair. Pull the toes back, deadlift, chair, one more. And again. Step it down, change. Push the leg behind you and hinging at the hips, deadlift, chair, one-legged chair that is, deadlift, chair. Try to keep the hips as much as you can level and square. That means adjusting. I try to keep the super mystical lectures for my website because it's a special interest. You can sit down. Sit down in your chair. But we're all in search of higher worlds. The persona and the ego is transitory, and we have to enjoy it and move through here with love for the persona and self-love for the true self, but at the same time continue expanding. All right, shift again into one-legged chair, left leg forward. Step it back in high lunge. I'm gonna work your body today. From here, I want you to move it really straight back, hinging at the hips. We're passing through warrior three into deadlift and reversing. So straight back the whole time. I don't want you to curve the back. Use the glutes and the hamstrings here. Let's go. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Let's do 2 more. 6, and 7. And we're gonna twist. Take the left hand forward on the floor on the inside of the right foot. Take the right arm up. The hands are reaching away from each other. Press into the back heel. Exhale. Lengthen through the crown. Reach over. And step. Step at the front. Chair. What do you know? Change sides. Left leg forward. High lunge. Transitional warrior three to deadlift. Level the hips and back. 2. Strengthening the back. 3. 4. 5. 6. And 7. Step it back. We're gonna do twist. Right arm forward, reach, lower, lengthen, press into the back heel, lift, and feel the spiral. Feel the spiral. That's youthifying for the spine. All right, here I want you to, instead of coming back up, I want you to walk between your legs and open the feet out and take plie. Hands over the thighs, reach over to, or press your right hand into your thigh, look over the left shoulder, adjust on the other side. This is a spinal adjustment. One more, and plie. We're gonna pulse simply here. When you look down at your knees, try to have your feet aligning with your knees. So you're gonna bring your feet a little inward if they're all the way out. It's common for people to just put the feet out and then the knees are slightly inward. So equalize them. All right, let's bend side to side. 1, 2, lengthen. This is elongation. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. We're going to do Kapalabhati breath, breath of fire. So it's controlled, faster breathing, but you deepen your breath through the process of it, and you also exhale completely. You're pushing the air out, so it's a very purifying the breath. It symbolizes the Promethean fire. I forgot to say that the pineal gland is represented by Pluto, which is in a sense the fire that burns down everything. It's a destruction that brings about expansion. So it's the absolute. And of course we're gonna do the breath of fire. So you can use your hands as a tool, a prop. And you're gonna exhale either through the nose or through the mouth. Inhale through the nose though. I find it easier to exhale through the nose, but you can test it out and see which one works better for you. And as you exhale, really you're in control of your breath. It is a very, very purifying breath. We did it once, we have done it once more in this program, either before or after. But you're going to assist your breath with your hands, and at the end, you're gonna exhale, hold the breath out after 50 to 100 breaths, whatever suits you today, and you're gonna focus on your third eye. All right, so as I said, the third eye is not just physical exercises that open our senses or evolve us spiritually. It's also the process of living and developing the goodness and love that we know that we should develop. So it's an evolutionary process. We don't want to cheat and speed it up because we want to evolve organically. We want to generate love, embody it. All right, let's go. 50 to 100 exhalations. Exhale, hold the breath out, and focus on your third eye. you can step at the front. Inhale, reach over the head, and exhale, forward fold. Inhale halfway up and bring your knees down on all fours. Exhale, pull the belly in. Inhale, arch. Exhale, pull the belly in. Inhale, arch. One more. And now we're going to take the right leg up and exhale, knee to nose. Bending the knee, rounding the back, pulling the belly in. Inhale, extend the leg behind. 2. Great, opposite side. Great, now take the right leg up, left arm, and we're going to pull the knee to the elbow, pull the belly in. Inhale, extend and level the hips and pull. Really feel your core here working. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Change. 1, 2, real deep control of the core. 3, 4, and 5. And we're gonna take plank now. Spread the fingers open, take the right leg up, and we're going to bring the right knee into the chest and back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Opposite side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Both knees down, take the right hand palm facing up and draw it under, glide it under. Back of the shoulder on the ground, back of the head on the ground, softening here. Coming out, opposite side. Coming out. Child's pose. And again, breathe into your third eye. In science called
pineal gland, and in yoga called sixth chakra. And also, recently this came across my media, Pinocchio. It's pine and ocular eye. So the story is about the pineal, the original story. I think there has been interpretations that are not the original.
All right, coming up onto all fours, take the right leg up and bring your left hand to the right leg open here, softening and opening the heart. The physical is a representation of the spiritual, and it's also a gateway of working on the development of the soul. So that's why we pay attention to the physical. In a way, we also want to spiritualize it without the identification to the physical. We understand it's a suit, it's a beautiful suit, it's a costume, precious one for this particular journey, and we have to honor it and love our body. Speaking of love, bring your hands over the heart in prayer or towards the heart and express love. Go from your toes all the way up to the crown of the head and shower yourself, your organs, your body parts with love. Give yourself unconditional love. Have gratitude for the magnitude that preceded us in order for us to develop into the current human form. Ben Sadhuno says that it's taken millions of years for the substance of the brain to be refined into its current form, to be developed into its current form. We're the process of conscious work, conscious beings working through the higher layers onto the physical, and we are moving with the earth through the hero's journey, so to speak. I already started with a deep intro, so I'm gonna get quiet now, but shower yourself with love. And now begin to exhale. You can sit down in a comfortable seated position, and you can begin to focus on your exhalations, which is a calming breath, a little longer exhalation, complete exhalation, because the breath is a purifying force. You can lay your hands, palms facing up on your knees. The breath, exhalation and inhalation, it's a purifying force. We're purifying the body. And also bringing prana in through the breath and water, two ways we receive prana, and there's other ways through the etheric body, but physically through the breath, and that feeds into the pineal. We're learning we're learning how to evolve our physical instrument in order to utilize prana more. Once we learn to utilize prana more, that will be our main nourishment. We will be able to extract force from very simple food, to where nowadays there's people that eat the most nutritious, well-designed diets, but they're not absorbing the nutrients in the diet. There is a little more to it. There is the refining of our energetic body and also our capacity to absorb light and to utilize pranic force. A few more deep inhalations, very slow, complete exhalations. Cultivating the beauty within yourself. As we know, you can take a few more inhalations while I say goodbye. As you know, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and every human being has the potential to be beautiful, because beauty is reflected from the soul into the physical. So it's not really reliant on the physical features as much as our society wants to convince us of that. It's always the reflection of the soul. The more we beautify our soul, the more we exude beauty. Maybe non-traditional beauty, but beauty is a very profound concept, the way love and joy and all of those are. So cultivating the beauty of the soul is extremely important. And all the processes we work on self-love and surrender and letting go and all of that, and minding our thoughts and emotions is really important, because it forms and shapes our reality and also our physicality. Thank you for joining me today. Remember to share the classes, and if you like them, give them a like and subscribe and all of those good things that will help me put this program out. It's been a massive joy for me to do this program, even though also challenging time-wise, but it's a labor of love. So if you have a moment to spare, please. And I don't remember to say that ever, because it doesn't fit in the format, but I'm reminding myself to remind you. And for additional information, especially on today's subject, check the articles below. I'm writing them at the time of shooting these classes, so hopefully everything will be out, and I'll be adding articles to this program. So check the additional material below, and thanks for joining me, and remember to flow with love, strength, and ease. Namaste.